I wanted to take a few minutes to go over something a little bit different than what I have been talking about. I'm also a car audio enthusiast, and this is not a good head unit. It's a good factory unit. Let me clarify that. This is my 2015 Ford Explorer. This is a Sync 2 head unit. This isn't even capable of Android Auto, Google Car, or Apple CarPlay. Um, it's very limited on its sound output, as most factory cars are. However, that doesn't mean that your audio has to sound like complete trash, especially in newer vehicles. I have used the trick that I'm about to show you in countless OEM cars for countless friends, and it's just something that I picked up over the years of doing hobbyist car audio. And the principle also applies to hobbyist level car audio, like actual well-built systems. Everybody wants to take these settings, and again, this is just an OEM, so you only have the 3 adjustments for your equalizer. It's not like a multi-band EQ. Everything's preset here, but it gives you a little bit of adjustment. Now, this car is capable of going a little bit higher. This is not the norm, okay? But what I want you to start with, when you get in a car, your friend's car, a rental car, I don't care, this is all going to be cranked. Like, your bass is going to be cranked, your mids and trebles may be turned up, and it's going to be tingy. I don't like tingy personally. Some people do. My dad loves tingy. I don't get it. Put everything back to 0, okay? Start at 0 with everything. Remove what you don't want. Don't start by increasing what you do want. Like, I like bass, but I don't start by increasing bass. I start by removing my mids and treble. I get that kind of tuned into where I want it to be. I leave bass at 0. Then start turning it up. This car, when I'm driving, I run it right there. So not quite 100%, okay? This goes again for any amplified audio system. Let the amplifier do its work by adjusting these down, removing what you don't want, and turning the amplifier up. However, you don't want to go to 100%, because every amplified system is going to clip at 100%. And if you're not familiar with the term clipping, I'm not going to try and give a good explanation of it. Please go watch a video on it. There's tons of good videos on YouTube about what clipping is. Essentially, a sound wave should be a nice curved wave. When you clip, that sound wave comes up, clips off flat, and then comes back down. Essentially, and somebody's going to correct me on this, that flat part, you can think of it as the movement of your speaker, right? Well, if you have a nice wave, that speaker is going to move up naturally in its travel, and it's going to come back down. If it clips, it's going to stop and get jerked back down. So the idea is that you want your speakers to flow nicely. That's how I understand it. That's how I explain it to people. That's a fairly good baseline understanding of the principle, right? There's more to it than that. I understand that. The basics is what I'm sticking with here. So you don't want to crank your volume all the way to 100%. You want to leave it down to, I usually tell people, like below 25% below 100%, if that makes sense. So that would be 75%. 75 to 80% volume is generally where you want to be. And if you're tuning a hobbyist system, a serious system, that's what you're going to end up finding when you're adjusting your gains, is you're not going to go to 100%. You're going to leave that last 25 to 30%, and then you can kind of fine tune it from there. But every time I've set up a new system, that's where the clipping starts, when I'm either using my oscilloscope or I'm using a meter and doing it the voltage method. it always seems like that last 25 to 30% before 100, so 70 to 75%, is where you're going to run into clipping. The same goes for an OEM system. I'm actually impressed with how high I can get this one, and that I can add bass to it. Most systems I might get a little bit of bass added to it, but I usually leave bass at 0 and I just drop everything else out. This one kind of tuned out a little bit different. So, to recap, any car that you get into is probably going to sound like crap. Your car right now probably doesn't sound the best, and you've just accepted that. You can get a little bit more out of it. I'm impressed at how good this system is. This is a 2015. It's not the premium Sony system, which I intentionally avoided like the plague, because they're not good. You're just buying the Sony name. But I mean, this thing has a speaker in every door, mids in the front, and then I believe there's a couple of speakers in the back. The bass is okay for an OEM system, and it's good enough for my daily. I hope this helps, and if you get any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. If you feel like calling me a moron for putting this recommendation out, I'm cool with that. Let's talk about it. Thanks.